say love like this comes once in a lifetime. For the first time I believe it to be true. All of my friends say, when you know, every piece falls into place when I'm with you. In you I found a love that sets me free. You are the best thing that ever happened to me. When you hold me, I know that I have everything. It's blue skies and big dreams, a billion places to explore. And I will be with you forever. Forever I am yours. Forever I am yours. They say the time is now to go where we want to. Follow the road until it leads us somewhere new. Nothing can stop us now. We're together. Oh, the whole world opens up when I'm with you. In you I find a love that sets me free. You are the best thing that ever happened to me. When you hold me, I know that I have everything. It's blue skies and big dreams, a billion places to explore. And I will be with you forever. Forever I am yours. Forever I am yours. You I found the love that sets me free. You are the best thing that ever happened to me. When you hold me, I know that I have everything. Blue skies and big dreams, a billion places to explore. And I will be with you forever. Forever I am yours. Forever I am yours. Forever
Good morning. It is so good to be back this week. You know, we missed you online last week. We had our annual Father's Day car show here at the Leander campus, and I want to tell you, it was so much fun. It was such a great turnout. I just loved seeing the kids running around. We had the parking lot full of cars. But you know what? We are back. We are starting a brand new series today called Own It, and I am really excited about it. I think it is probably going to be one of my favorite summer series. And you know, summer is in full swing. What are you guys doing this summer? Where are you going on vacation? You know, my family and I, we just got back from vacation. We went last week. And we went and we hung out by the water, and the whole time we were there, my 7-year-old kept saying, I want to go skiing, I want to go skiing. And it just dawned on me that she must be more of a mountain girl than a beach girl. And so what are you? Would you rather vacation in the mountains, or would you rather vacation around the lake or around the beach? Let us know. You know, if this is your first time joining us, we would love for you to text us at 512-710-2323 and just let us know. We want to be able to connect with you. We want to be able to serve you, see what we can do for you. So let us know that it's your first time and we are going to send you a cup of coffee. We also have a QR code for anyone else. You can scan the QR code. And this QR code is brand new. It has everything that you need. And I think the most important thing that it has right now is the message notes. When you scan that, you can pull up the message notes and there is a fill in the blank section for all of the notes for today's message. Again, we're starting a brand new series called Own It, and I am excited for you to hear about it and see what you can put into place in your life. I'll see you afterwards.
Sometimes on this journey, I get lost in my mistakes. What looks to me like weakness is a canvas for your strength. My story isn't over, my story's just begun. Failure won't define me, that's what my Father does. Oh, failure won't define me, that's what my Father does. Ooh, lay your burdens down. Ooh, here in the Father's house. Check your shame at the door, 'cause it ain't welcome anymore. Ooh, you're in the Father's house. Yeah. Arrival's not the end game, the journey's where you are. Well, you never wanted perfect, you just wanted my heart. And the story isn't over if the story isn't good. Failure's never final when the Father's in the room. Failure's never final when my Father's in the room. Sing it. Ooh, lay your burdens down. Ooh, here in the Father's house. Check your shame at the door, 'cause it ain't welcome anymore. Ooh, here in the Father's house. Yeah. Oh, y'all put y'all's hands together. Prodigals come home, helpless find home. Love is on the move when the Father's in the room. Prison doors swing wide, dead come to life. Love is on the move when the Father's in the room. Miracles take place, the cynical find faith. Love is breaking through and the Father's in the room. Sing it loud. Jericho walls are shaking, strongholds now are quake. Love is breaking through and the Father's in the room. Yeah, love is breaking through. Yeah, when the Father's in the room. Room. Sing it. Lay your feel shame at the door, 'cause it ain't welcome anymore. Ooh, you're in the Father's house. Y'all doing all right this morning? Let's keep singing. Every time I try to make it on my own, every time I try to stand and start to fall, all those lonely roads that I traveled on, but there was Jesus. When this life I built came crashing to the ground, these friends I had were nowhere to be found. I couldn't see it then, but I could see it now. Thank you, Lord, but there was Jesus. In the waiting, in the searching, in the healing, and the hurting, like a blessing buried in the broken pieces. Every minute, every moment, where I've been and where I'm going, even when I didn't know it, I couldn't see it, there was Jesus. For this man needs amazing kind of forgiveness at a price I couldn't pay. I'm not perfect, so I thank God every day that there was Jesus. Oh, there was Jesus. Sing it now. In the waiting, in the searching, in the healing, and the hurting, like a blessing buried in the broken pieces. Every minute, every moment, where I've been and where I'm going, even when I didn't know it, I couldn't see it, there was Jesus. On the mountain, in the valley, there was Jesus. In the shadow of the alley, there was Jesus. In the fire, in the flood, there was Jesus. He always is and always was. I will never walk alone. You were always there. In the waiting, we said, in the waiting, in the searching, in the healing, and the hurting, like a blessing buried in the broken pieces. Every minute, every moment, where I've been and where I'm going, even when I didn't know it, I couldn't see it, there was Jesus. There was Jesus. There was Jesus.
All right, good morning. Y'all go ahead and grab a seat. Well, good morning. My name is John Evans. I'm one of the pastors here on staff, and we're so excited to be kicking off our new 4-week series with Mario called Own It, and we're going to be talking about how to make the most of every opportunity and not excuses. And so we want to challenge everyone to be a part of these next 4 weeks, to learn and to grow. Mario's got some great things for us. Also, we just want to take a moment. If this is your first time with us in person or online, we just want to say welcome. We're so glad that you're with us. But we'd also like to know that you're with us, and we've got a code or a number, a key word for you to text to the number 512-710-2323, and that just lets us know that you're with us and gives us a chance to follow up and hear a little bit about you. Next, we've got a new QR code that takes you to all the things, but we'd love to connect And so once you scan that QR code with your phone, that'll take you to where you can click on Connection Card, and there you can just let us know how you're doing, how we can be praying for you, how we can serve you, and let us know a little bit about what's going on. And so we always appreciate it when you take the time to do that. Well, hey, let me just take a second before we move on, and let me say a prayer for us this morning. God, thank you so much for just the opportunities that you have for us. And God, we don't always see those as opportunities. A lot of times, those are difficult things that we have to take ownership and step into. So this morning, help us get real about what we're going through, where we are, and help us see the things that maybe we're not seeing so we can make the most of those things. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right, the band has another song for us. Let's go ahead and stand up and sing along.
All throughout my history, your faithfulness has walked beside me. The winter storms made a way for spring. In every season, from where I'm standing, I've seen the evidence of your goodness all over my life, all over my life. I see your promises in fulfillment all over my life, all over my life. Help me remember when I'm weak. Feel me calm, but feel me lead. Lead my heart to victory. You are my strength, and you always will. Sing it now. I see the evidence of your goodness all over my life, all over my life. I see your promises in fulfillment all over my life, all over my life. We sing this together. See the cross, the empty grave, the evidence is endless. All my sin rolled away because of you, oh Jesus. See the cross, the empty grave, the evidence is endless. All my sin rolled away because of you, oh Jesus. Yeah. I see the evidence of your goodness all over my life, all over my life. I see your promises in fulfillment all over my life, all over my life. Say it again now. I see the evidence of your good all over my life, all over my life. Yeah, I see your promises and fulfillment all over my life, all over my life. Why should I? Why should I fear? All the evidence is real. Oh, why should I fear? All the evidence is here. Well, I'm on my second string that I broke today. I'd say that's a good day. What about y'all? That's when you know you're doing it right, when you're breaking something. Hey, I want to do something special this morning. Anytime we sing the song Evidence, which is a new song, that's probably why you didn't know it. It is the second time we've sang it. We're going to bring somebody up on stage to share some evidence, right? Is God good, right? I don't know about you, but sometimes I can forget when I'm walking through the middle of something difficult that God is good, right? And I got to go back and get my old brain to remember, oh, yeah, you came through for me here and there. And so this morning, if you're walking through something and you're struggling, this next part for you. So y'all welcome my friend Jerry to the stage. Come on, Jerry. Jerry's going to share just a little bit about what God's been doing in his life.
So I can tell you this, that it's easier to get in front of a boardroom full of investors than it is to get in front of your family, of your church family, and tell them that you're stupid. And so about 13 years, in 2013, I started making a bunch of really bad decisions. And those decisions resulted in, on April 15th, 2015, I lost my company, I lost my job, and I lost my wife. Anyway, it was, thinking that was the lowly point in my life. I started feeling sorry for myself, got mad at God, decided that God was not there, and even though I didn't believe in him, he believed in me. And he introduced me into this wonderful lady that is now my next wife. And Christ is the center of her world. And we would spend long hours talking about Christ and how when we focused on Christ and we went and made our decisions after praying to Christ, that those decisions were right. And we look back in our lives, I look back in my life, and when I see the decisions that I made without first consulting him, they were bad decisions. And although I didn't know it, and I turned my back on him, he still had a hold of my hand. He guided me to my wife. Sorry. I didn't know I was going to do that. Sorry, guys. Anyway, he led me back, he brought me back, and I now have a new job, a new career. Things are turning around. He's blessing me every week with more blessings and everything. My daughters have come back to me. They showed their love to me almost weekly. God is good. And my wife and I do pray together on every decision, and life is good.
Yeah. Yeah, y'all give it up for Jerry. Come on, let's sing that again. I've seen the evidence of your goodness all over my life, all over my life. Seen your promises, we sing. I see your promises in fulfillment all over my life, all over my life. All right, well, I hope that encouraged you this morning. You're welcome to have a seat, and I hope you enjoy church this morning. Watch this.
Hey, well, good morning. How are y'all? Good to see you guys. If we haven't met, my name is Mario, and I'm the campus pastor out at Rock Point Liberty Hill. And again, I just want to say thank you for allowing me to share some time with you guys. Man, what I'm sharing this morning is it can be powerful. It's something I'm very passionate about. But before we go on, I just want to say good morning to everyone that's online, wherever you're watching. Thanks for tuning in. And then, of course, last but not least, out in Liberty Hill, man, it's so good to see you guys there. And I hope that this morning you can take something from what we share, because it can be life-changing. And so this morning, I really just want to, again, I have a you know, there's this disclaimer to this message, but before we get there, I got to tell you this is something I'm passionate about. I think it's because I see people walking around and we are afraid to take a step. We're afraid to do something, and we're afraid to do something that just maybe is going to push the envelope, and we're not too sure how it's going to happen. So this morning, I want to give you a disclaimer, but before I do any of that, I want to give you the underlining verse that's going to build each week, every week for the next 4 weeks. So if you're here today, I'm telling you, if you're out of town, cool, next week it's 4th of July, but here's what I want you to know. Go back and watch these weeks, because they're just going to build on top of one another. And so I want to give you the verse before I give you the disclaimer. And this is the verse that Paul shares with us that we're just going to build on it. It says this: be very careful. Be very careful. Then how you live, not as unwise, but as wise, making the most of every opportunity, because the days are evil. So the next few weeks, the next 4 weeks, I want you to focus in on this phrase of make the most of every moment. Some Bible translations, when you read different books, they'll say make the most of your time, make the most of this moment, make the most of this opportunity. That's what we're talking about. And so the disclaimer is this about this series. I need you guys to understand this is if we're going to own it, like this series is called, and we're going to take ownership of something, I need the disclaimer, I need to understand the disclaimer, and I need you to understand is we're going to talk about some things that you're going to be pushed, where you're going to go, hey, hold on, what? You're going to be uncomfortable at some point because you're going to be challenged. You're going to want to tap out and say, I don't need to hear this. There's going to be some moments of truth and some moments that are tense. Don't elbow your spouse or your boyfriend or girlfriend. Take this for yourself and say, hey, this is about owning parts of my life that are going to produce growth somewhere. So that's what we're talking about. That's the disclaimer is, you know what? In the end, we have to decide if we're going to take ownership of our life and what that actually means in bringing freedom in other areas of our lives. And so my whole prayer is this, is that at the end of this series that you would take some things and go, I have grown, and a year from now, I'm not in the same place that I was, because here's what I need you to know too, is growth is a choice. I can go home today and not do anything for the next year to grow anything. I can sit there and watch Netflix for the rest of the year and I won't grow. Growth is a choice, and I'm asking you to make that choice with me over the next few weeks so that you're not in the same place a year from now, right? So growth is a choice, and it's going to start with taking ownership of a few areas of our lives, and that's my prayer, is that you would go on this journey of taking ownership of our lives. And so I thought, and I asked myself, how do you take ownership of your life? How do you introduce these areas of our lives? I said, okay, so here, Mario, what are some of the areas of our lives that we make the most excuses? And we point the finger and we push the blame in our lives, and we say, this is where I need to take ownership. This is how I came up with this. Where do we blame people? Man, I'm running late because my kids wouldn't wake up. Man, you know what? I'm ready in 5 minutes and I'm waiting on my wife. I would never say that, but she's watching this. And here's the thing is, so if we're going to push blame, that's where we need to take ownership. There's this gap of going, I have to take ownership. And this morning, we're going to talk about this one that once you give this away, you can never give it back. Once you begin to spend time, you can never get it back. What we just did 15 minutes ago, we're never going to get back. Those are gone. That time is gone. Yesterday is gone. The past is gone. You can never gain that back. So this morning, we're talking about ownership of our time, owning our time. And I think we've said things like this. If you're honest, listen to this. You can write these down. And if you're honest, I want to ask you to raise your hand at the end and let me know if you've ever said this. Here's your notes. I don't have enough time. I would just wish I had more time. You guys in Liberty Hill and online, you can fill in the blank out loud as well. There's just not enough time. There are never enough hours in the day. So if you've ever said that really quick, even online in Liberty Hill, let me know. Raise your hand high, okay? Here's the honesty. Hey, I'm afraid to be honest. Honesty's up here. And here's the thing, though, is about time is we say those things. We say, you know what, I never have enough time. I never have enough time. And I got to tell you this, is that if you read enough self-help books about time, you know what the number one underlining key statement is? I'll save you the money of a book. It's you. You're the only one that wastes your time. And I'm going, I just read this book for it to tell me that I waste my time. I could have figured this out. But honestly, think about it. We're going to take ownership of our time. It's on us. And so here's what I want you to do. This is our life. The average lifespan of someone in the United States right now is about 75. And some of these things are different, so I need you to see that we give our time away little by little, and this is, again, owning our time. So here's what I want to tell you, and I know you've probably maybe heard me say this before, but over 75 years, about 26 hours of our life is spent asleep. 26 hours of your life, or 26 years of your life is asleep. 26 years of your life you spend asleep. Check this out. 11 hours is spent trying to fall asleep. This is your life. We can't get this back. Guess what? 11 years at your job if you work 40 hours a week. 11 years of your life. A woman spends 136 days getting ready in her life. A little bit there. Men who are 75, 46. And men are never ready, right? They're like, or we don't look ready. That's the problem. 7 years of your life, here you go, 7 years of your life spent on the internet. And let me tell you this, that's even getting more and more larger of a number because we have our phones. I don't know why we call it a phone, because we don't use it to call people. We screen the call and just go, I'll just text you. It's not a phone, but we use it for the internet. 4 years of our lives, and this is on the rise to 6 years, spent on our phones. At the end of your life, you can say, I've spent 6 years on my phone. And that's on the rise. 23 days of the year, almost an entire month out of the year, you're spending it on your phone. Here's a funny one. 1.5 years spent in the restroom, not in the shower or the bath. Just telling you, 1.5 years of your life is spent in the restroom. 6.5 minutes, every 6.5 minutes you check your phone. I don't want to see you guys check your phone. I'm just kidding. 11 years, or 11 hours a day. 11 hours a day, let's break it down to 11 hours a day, you spend interacting with digital media. That's a lot. I don't know if you've ever fallen into the TikTok black hole of death or Netflix, and you see the thing saying, the next series or next show will begin in 20, 19, 18. You're like, that's not even fast enough to get popcorn, so I'm just going to chill. Hey, babe, will you grab this? I'm just going to sit. And then all of a sudden it ends, and then you go, and it just starts, and you're just sitting there and you go, hey, how many shows have I watched? I just wasted my time. We can't get this time back. If a child, listen to this, if a child is born in 2013, this is my youngest, if a child is born in 2013, they've spent, by the time they're 7, an entire year in front of a screen. An entire year in front of a screen. So, I'm just going to tell you this. That is a person that's 75 years old. And that's just some of the stuff that we spend our time on. And I know it's someone who's 75 years old, but some of us have walked into today and you go, that's how I feel right now. And I'm only 39. Because tomorrow I got to wake up and I got to go to work, and I'm going to sit there and go, how am I going to get the energy to just pour more of my life out? Got to go home, and I know as bad as it says, I'm going to sit in the garage going, I got to go in there and deal with this. I have kids who have dance. I have things that are going on, and before you know it, you go, I can't get any of that time back. And here's what we say. This is some notes for you. Here's what we say when we see something like this. Everything takes time. Everything takes my time is what we say. Everything takes time. We should know that. But here's where we're going to flip the switch with ownership. And here's the challenge where it's going to get a little pushy. It's time to stop saying everything takes my time. Because you know what ownership says is this: I give my time to everything. I have given my time. I've given everything my time is what I meant to say. So here's the thing, is I have given everything my time. Yes, you have to go to work. Yes, you have extracurriculars. Yes, you do things. But I am the one who owns what happens with this. I am the one who has poured it out. I am the one who says that I have to wake up at this time. My daughters, yes, they want to dance, they want to sign. But guess who has to schedule that? It's not that it's taken. I am choosing to give my time to those things. And when we say it takes my time, then that means I'm going, you're to blame, you're to blame, you're to blame, you're to blame. There's the excuse, there's the excuse. And at the end of our life, if you make it to heaven, if you make that choice to make Jesus someone, the person that you revolve your life around, at the end of your life, he's not going to say, hey, whose fault is it that you were late? It's not that. I'm taking ownership of my life and my time, and that's what we're talking about. So changing the way we say it is the first step in saying, I have given my time. I have to decide what I'm going to do with this time. And gradually, these little moments by moments just start to peel away. And before you know it, you go, man, I'm 39. I have 2 kids. Am I doing the best with my time? So here's what happens when we take ownership. Here's another note for you. When we take ownership of our time takes on purpose. When you and I take ownership of our time and say, here's what I want my time to do, that time takes on purpose. Think about it. You tell your time what to do, your time is not telling you what to do, right? Just like Dave Ramsey and money. You tell your money what to do, or else your money is going to be telling what you can and can't do. It's the same thing with time. When we take ownership of our time, we have to say, you know what? I have to tell my time where to go. And you know who did this so well? And I'm not talking about Jesus because we're at church, but think about it. Even from a organizational standpoint, Jesus did this so well. He lived 33 years, worked for 3 years, and changed the entire world and left a legacy in 3 days. And you go, but he was Jesus, God's son. Listen to this verse though. Who being Jesus, who being in the very nature of God, did not consider equality with God something to be used to his own advantage. Think about it. If you and I were God right now, man, I'd be driving home going, that ribeye is already done. Snap my fingers, there's sides, there's all these things, and going, I don't want to waste my time. Jesus didn't consider equality with God. It said he made himself nothing by taking on the very nature of a servant, being made in human likeness. Why? So that he could talk about certain things that we would understand. He's going, I know that. But here's the other thing about Jesus. If we take it a step further, if you look in the Bible, he was never wandering around going, I don't know what to do. Guys, I really don't know what to do today. There's people that need to be healed. There's water that needs to be turned. I don't know what to do. You know why? Because he gave his time purpose. And when Jesus' time took on purpose, everything he did from the moment he woke up to the time he spent with God, to the people he was healing, to the people he went and visited, to the people that he invited to walk with him, all went into the same funnel of purpose because he said, my time is mine and I have to own it because if I don't, someone else is going to tell me what to do. And guess what he did? He changed the world because he took ownership of his time to go, my time is important. Jesus' time had purpose. And I want to ask you this. Let's say you walked in today or you logged on online or you're out in Liberty Hill and we said, hey, we're going to tell you how many days all the way down to the second, how much time you have left here on earth. Here's your paper. You got 24 years. Am I going to go sit in front of my TV and just go, Netflix? Am I going to pull out my phone, which is the number one distraction? I did this little survey, asked all my friends. I don't have many, but I asked a few that chimed in, and they said, number one distraction is a phone. If I have 24 years left, 2 daughters, a family, and dreams and goals, am I going to spend 11 years of my life just looking at this thing? That's not purpose. That's me just going, I don't have a purpose, so I'm just going to do this. I'm going to do what's simple. And yes, I know we need to relax. Yes, I know we need to have some time off. I totally get that. But what I'm saying is if you don't give your time purpose, at some point, we're looking at TikTok, we're looking at Instagram, we're looking at social media, we're watching the news, we're filling our time with we're giving our time all this, giving this stuff all our time, and before you know it, it's here. And what does the Bible tell us about our life? It's but a mist. And when the sun rises, the mist is gone, and God's going, your life is just like that. Take ownership of your life with your time, because if you don't, before you know it, it's gone, and the legacy you were supposed to live, someone else took it. You have to take ownership of your time. I have to take ownership of my time. And the Bible says our life is just like a mist. It's limited. It's a limited commodity that once we spend it here, we can't get it back. I so wish there were times that I could go back and take back and go, what were you thinking, Mario? What were you thinking? But we can't. So if I can maybe just share with you a transparent moment where I waste my time and I give my time. It's three little letters, H-E-B. I don't do this well. So all you people that have shopping down and you go and you have this app and you have a colored thing, don't come talk to me afterward. Don't message me. This is how I waste my time. I want a ribeye and some sides. I'll go get it. I have them cut it. Go home. Dang it, I forgot to get stuff for the girls. So I'll go to the H-E-B store, get something for the girls, come back. And then, hey, forgot dog food, I'll go back. And then the next day I'm like, hey, what sounds good for dinner or lunch? And then I'll go back. And then at the end of it, I'm going, why don't, somebody of y'all are already in here going, why don't you just make a list and go one time at the beginning of the week? Amen. Exactly. The reason I'm telling you that is because our life is the same way when you don't take ownership. You're going from one thing to another, to another, to another, and you're stuck right here, and God's going, I need you to look over here. Zoom out and look at your life. Don't get stuck here on YouTube or Netflix or this and go, yes, there's more important things in your job. Yes, you have to have it, but you have to take ownership of your time and tell your time where to go, because if you don't, you're going to be stuck at H-E-B for 40 years just going back and forth. We have to take ownership. And you know what's so crazy? If Jesus owned his time well, you know who distracted so well? The enemy. And do you know the definition of distraction? Back in the day when they would tie people up, arm, leg, and they distract the person's body. I know that sounds gory, but why do you think it's called distraction? Because you're going in so many different directions, you can't stay focused. Satan is so good at that. He goes, you know what? I need you to chase this. I need you to chase that. I need you to blame this person. I need you to blame this person. When it comes to time, at the end, I can't go and go, hey, God, my daughter had to sign up for dance, and I didn't have time. No, you own this. You have to take ownership of your time and tell your time where to go. Got to tell you another authentic moment. Don't laugh, don't judge. Thinking of distraction, I remember my oldest is 11, and she was crawling and getting into things I did not want her to get into. Important things, right? So I'm sitting there playing a video game or watching the Longhorns play. My wife is taking a nap because we have a newborn, and she's crawling. And I go, oh, quit getting into things. I'm trying to watch the game. So I came up with a game. Got a ball, and I made her laugh, and I go, and it rolled. It went all the way down the end of our house, and my daughter giggled, and she started crawling. She went and grabbed it. I'm watching the game. She comes back, and she starts pulling. Grab it. I go like this. She starts giggling. I throw it again. She goes and gets it. She comes back. And before I know it, she's just going. And then I look down, and she's knocked out. She's asleep. I call that fetch, but that's a distraction. And guess what? It's a reflection of my life sometimes when Satan goes, I'm going to get you to focus here, chase that, come back, chase back. And all we're doing with our lives is we're going after the same thing over and over and over again, never looking back at the bigger picture to go, what does God want me to do with my time? And we're playing fetch, and he goes, I got you. All those important things you need to do, I got you right here. You're never going to reach those dreams. You're never going to think about these things because you're not taking ownership of your time, Mario. And I want us to get past that. I want us to take ownership of our time, because at the end of our time, we have to give an account for that. Not my wife, not Shane, no one else. Not my boss, not my friends. I give an account of my time. We have to take ownership and say, I give my time away. So how do we do that this morning? I have a few things, practical ways that we can do this that I've kind of, shared with some people, and we've practiced this. So taking ownership of my time by this is giving time for yourself to think. Giving yourself time to think, not making time, because we don't make time. We give our time some time to think. Why do we need time to think? Because here's the thing. One of the most valuable things I think Jesus did, or I know he did, was spend time with the Father. No one else was around. If he had phones back in the day, he probably wouldn't be on his phone when he was with the Father, because it was intentional, it was purposeful. So for you and I, we need to look at our days and go, hey, when are some times that I can peel away from no one else and put purpose to my life and own this time to go, this is when my week starts. Here's what I'm going to do with my week. That's called planning, right? And you go, I knew we were going to start planning and all that. No, here's what I need to tell you is if at the end of the week you say, I don't have enough time, you failed to plan. For me, So that means I got to wake up early. I'm not a morning person. Okay, then do it at the end. Find time for you just to get away and go, I need to make time for myself. Man, we were reading a book yesterday, and I heard that most people do their best thinking in the shower, on a walk, in the car, because why? You're alone, and most of the distractions are away. Think about that. Make time to think. Make time for give time for yourself to think. I'm sorry. So the second thing I want you to remember is this: telling your time what to do. So I take ownership by telling my time what to do, not my time telling me what to do. So practically, it's creating a plan, going, look, HEB, I'm going on Sunday. That's it. Maybe I'll get HEB to go later on in the week, but let's create a list of things, because if I create a list over here, I got 5-6 days to do whatever I want, and now I'm not using these trips to go to HEB because I'm wasting my time. Hey, if we're going to have a family vacation, put that in there. Here's what I'm saying is you tell your time what to do. And here's one that I got to tell you that falls underneath there that it may seem backwards for some of you guys, but give yourself permission to say no. Give yourself permission to say no. Because if you're telling everyone yes, your family's probably getting the no. And man, there's things that I tell, like my little daughter, Sam. Hey, Dad, can we go to the park? And I'm like, oh. But then I remember, I'll never get this back. And she'll never get that back. And I want to make the most of that time with her to go, yeah, let's go to the park. I'm going to go take a walk. I'll be back, guys. And she goes, hey, can I go with you? I'm like, oh, it's going to slow down my time. But I'm going to give my time to her because she's going to remember those things. It's what I do with this. I'm taking ownership of it to go, I'm giving this. And the last thing is probably one of the most important things. So give yourself time to think, tell your time what to do. And the last one is this, is looking at the big picture, not the next thing. Because I believe you and I go, if I can only get to here, if I can only get to here, if I can. And here's what happens when you're so zero focused on this target, you forget about the other people and the other things going around. So when you're zeroed in, target fixated, you're going here, you forget the bigger picture, and God's going, I'm trying to show you. She's about to graduate. He's about to graduate. But you're so focused in over here that you can't see that your son or daughter is graduating, or your wife needs this, because you're giving your time to this, and then this, and then this, and we forget about the big picture. So how do you remove purpose in my life and in your life? You keep people busy. You remove purpose by keeping everyone busy, playing fetch, going to HEB, back and forth, and then your purpose is gone because you didn't take ownership of your time. So how do you live out purpose? You give yourself time to think, you revisit that, you tell your time what to do, and you continue to look at the big picture up here to go, man, this is what I want to do with my life. And then at the end, we get to tell our time what to do, and we get to see what our life has become. And I need you to know this, is that it's not easy, and I don't have it put together. I obviously go to HEB way too much, and if you go to HEB when you're hungry, oh my goodness, I come home with candy, gummy bears, gummy worms, ice cream, and I forget what I went for. But anyway, seriously, it's not a perfect plan, right? There's no perfect plan, but if you can get in that mindset of, I'm taking ownership of my time, I'm gonna own it, I'm gonna tell it where to go, you begin to have purpose in your life. And when you have purpose in your life, you begin to affect the people in your life, and they go, how do you do this? And you go, I have to own my time because Jesus did this, and I'm going to do this, and this is the outcome is gonna be. And it's not easy, but that's where it starts. And it stops the blame, and it stops the pointing of fingers, and it comes back to me because I tell my time where it needs to go. Be very careful then how you live. Do not as unwise, but as wise, making the most of every opportunity because the days are evil. Jesus was laser focused on taking ownership of his time, and when he did this, we saw his purpose play out. Next week, we're going to look at how it affects other people. So today's taking ownership of your time. Next week, I hope you join us because it's going to be talking about influence and taking ownership of our influence. Let me pray real quick. God, thank you for this morning. God, thank you for the challenge of just taking ownership of our time. God, it's not something that is easy. It's difficult at times. And God, there's so many people, plans, ideas that are pulling our time. God, and I'm just going to ask that you would help us to think through this message and what you want us to take ownership of and our purpose in our life, God. And remember the relationships that are affected because of our time. So God, this morning, I'm asking, help us to own our time and to live on purpose. God, we love you. We thank you so much for this time together. And it's in your name I pray. Amen.
Well, my wife and 4 kids and I, and this is perfect timing because it just gives me so much to think about. And I was challenged by it. I'm so grateful for what God put in Mario's heart. And I'm looking forward to these next 3 weeks and how I can make the most of giving my time and what God's going to do through that in my life. And I hope he does so much through yours. So do not miss another week of this. It's going to be really good. We have some next steps for you, and how you get there is scanning this QR code, and it'll bring up some things back to the opportunity to click on that connection card if you didn't get a chance to do that. Also, we have baptisms coming up, and there you can also let us know what you're praying for, if there's anything you need, how we can help serve you as a church. And so take some time to scan that, and we appreciate it every time you do that because that helps us help you. There's also a place there for you to give. And I just got back last night from Wednesday. We took a team to Lake Charles on a disaster relief trip with 14 students and 3 other leaders. And I'm telling you, when you give, things happen. And it's amazing to see what God's doing in and through the lives of our students in our church and how they were a part of our mission, and seeing them helping people heal. It was such an encouragement. So keep on going, keep on giving. Things happen when you give. So thank you so much for your generosity. Well, hey, the band has another song for us. It's going to be a great one. Let's all stand up and sing along.
I was walking the wayside, lost on a lonely road. I was chasing the highlight, trying to satisfy my soul. All the lies I believed in left me crying like the rain. And I saw lightning from heaven, but I've never been the same. I'm gonna climb a mountain, I'm gonna shout about it. I am a child of love. I found a world of freedom, I found a friend in Jesus. I am a child
message really hit home. That was one of those messages that I know for me that I am going to probably go home and re-listen to it right away so I can get those points. And you know, one of the ones I'm going to put into practice right away is really planning my week. But you know what? We are so thankful that you joined us today. We're going to give you one more chance to scan that Next Steps QR code because, like John said, that is where you can find a place to give. And we had a fabulous disaster relief trip this week where we took some youth out. That is what happens when you give. You are a part of changing people's lives, not only right here, but all around us. You know what? If you want to stay up to date on all the things that we do around here, you can find us on social media. We are on Facebook and Instagram. We have a YouTube channel. Find us and stay up to date so you'll know everything that's going on around Rock Point. You know what? I hope that you have a fabulous week, and we'll see you here next week for Wrapping Up Own It. Except for we're not wrapping up.
Dancing to the music, dancing to the beat. The way you move around, you knock me off my feet. Please pick me up, 'cause I'm still down. I open my eyes, and you're not around. Ooh, yeah. You driving me insane. It's very, very plain. You got the power. My heart's beating louder. My head is spinning around. It's starting to pound. Come on, let's go where no one's around. Ooh, yeah. Took you to the show. I didn't know you were so tough. Ooh, I didn't get enough. You tried to stay up. I tried to get you down. I opened my eyes and look what I found. Baby, you too much. You got the magic touch. My mind getting hazy. You driving me crazy. Your temperature went up. I finally got you down. We opened our eyes and look what we found. Dancing to the music, dancing to the beat. The way you move around, you knock me off my feet. Please pick me up, 'cause I'm still down. I open my eyes, and you're not around. They say love like this comes once in a lifetime.